So what we're going to look at now is the count and count A formulas and how they can help us really easily with data. And we can see that we just have some data here. So we have some names, generations, some classifications, a type, and then we have a total over at the end here. So say we want to understand how many we have of these. Obviously we have the ways of understanding, so like control and down, it'll take us down to the end of the data, or if we're up at the top and we're in the kind of corner here, then we could press potentially the control and end, and that's going to take us to our data. But we can see that it's dropped all the way down here because we've already got rid of some data. But if we want to go back to the beginning, we could press the control and home. And, you know, it's just having a look at this. And sometimes it can be confusing in terms of how much data you've got and where everything is. What we can do to understand this a little bit more is we can use the count function. And starting out with that, then we're going to use the equal sign as we would do with anything. And from here, we can use the count. So we know when we build formulas, we always have to put the equal sign and then the formula itself we want to use with an open parentheses. And then we have the first argument that we want to use. And the first thing that we want to look at then is counting all the values. So we'll just use the E column here and we can select that. We can see that by selecting the E column like so, we get the E colon E, and that just basically means that we're selecting the whole of that column. We can close the parentheses and press enter, and we can see that we get a value there of 1033 if we put total base there. And now what we can do is we can look at the names, but what we're going to find now is if we use the count function again and we select column A, for example, we have the A colon A, and we're going to close the parentheses. We can press that enter again and we can see that we get 0 now. And the reason that we get 0 for this is because we are entering the count function. So the count function only works on numerical values, and for us, we can see that within column A that we don't have numerical values, we've only got text values there. What we need to do with this then is we can use the count A function. And we can see that the count A function counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty, but this will also include the text values for us. So we can open the parentheses like so, so press the tab, select the A column that we were wanting before, close the parentheses and press enter. But this time we can see that we get a different result. So we can see that we get the 1034 now. And the reason why we get a different kind of result to this is because the count function here only includes numerical values. So we know that within our numerical values here of column E, okay, we have this title here which says base total, but where for the name we use the count A function, that's going to include everything. So it includes the name that we have up at the top here as well. So just bear that in mind when using these functions. One thing that we can look at as well when we're looking at these is we can also select the column, just clicking up on the letter at the top there, and you can see down in the status bar here that we get quite a lot of different numbers there. So I've kind of modified mine a little bit because of the different things that I use it for, and we can see that we've got the count function, we have the count number, and we have the min and max along with the sum. And the way that we can use this then is to right click onto the status bar that we have here, and you can see that you have the option of changes to these. So we can take off the min and max, say we don't want them anymore, or say that, you know, you only want to work on, you know, your numerical values or whatever, then this is where you can work on that and you can take it out there. So we know that now for us, we're just working on the count, and if we select the column A, then that's going to be 1034. But then again, if we were to input the numerical value now, then we know that that particular one is only going to be 1034. When we select the different columns, so we select column A, it kind of gives us a lot less data than what it does when it selects column E. So it just kind of, it depends on how you want to work and what you want to input. But for me, like I say, I like to right click. I like to have kind of as much data as I can when I'm working on a specific column or data set, and it just makes it a little bit easier to understand some of the things. But like I say, that's just an easier way of how you can understand the count and count A functions within Excel and understand how much data you might have.